I am the Namer, guardian of the names of power. Before your world even existed, my people were an ancient race. Now they are gone, and only I remain, keeper of my people's history. Across the endless tracts of space have I traveled, to return to the planet of my birth, Zoidstar. Though my people perished long ago, and their cities were buried by the shifting sands, the machines remain. It is these that have brought me here to perform the last act of the Zoidarian race, the giving of the names of power. When my race was young and had an interest in the affairs of the galaxy, they built the machines, mighty engines of destruction which gave the power of life and death over the other creatures in the galaxy. The Zoidarians turned their gaze outward and laid waste to 1,000 star systems with their machines, their Zoids. But ruling a galaxy was not enough for the Zoidarians. It was not the conquests, but the battles they enjoyed. And though all intelligent life trembled in the shadow of the Zoids, my people battled on, machine against machine, Zoidarian against Zoidarian, in the further pursuit of glory. Zoidarian lives were needlessly sacrificed to the god of battle, and the race dwindled in numbers until the elders outlawed the Zoid duels. But they couldn't outlaw the Zoidarian love of combat. The Zoidarian pilots of the giant war machines were replaced by androids, and thus the heroic combat could continue without threat to Zoidarian life. Too late came the order. Too late to save a once mighty race from extinction, and now only I remain. Only I and the Zoids. And though my people created the Zoids, I have no power to control them. For the war machines have become the living embodiment of the Zoidarian thirst for combat, with lives and wills of their own. They exist only to fight, to ensure that their heroic combat lasts for all eternity. Now I stand on the sand-blasted surface of a world I used to call home, high on a rock, scanning the horizon for some sign of movement, knowing that out there, behind the sand clouds, lurk the deadliest war machines in the universe. Ah! It begins!
For violent war, assault guns primed and loaded for the score. Beam guns aim with deadly accuracy. Here come Dibisons miraculously. Fought by the Helic army for Zoid fight. Bison's the mark of Republic might. Black cyber buffalo Zoids knows no fear, but the Cenabas watch as they draw near. The Bisons, mental mighty Helix sons. The Bisons, and the Empire on the run. The Bisons, your might will not be undone. The Bisons, your steel power has begun. Mighty Helix on the Dibisons now attack. Dibisons, metal mighty helix sun. Dibisons, send the empire on the run. Dibisons, your might will not be undone. Dibisons, your steel power has begun. Dibisons, metal mighty helix sun. Dibisons, send the empire on the run. Dibisons, your might will not be undone. Dibisons, your steel power has begun.
Devastating though these machines may be, they are the least powerful of their kind. Stronger and more savage are the Power Zoids. Giant machines whose very passing can topple mountains. Even now, a Power Zoid approaches in search of enemies to destroy. There is a tang of danger in the air, but the Power Zoid moves forward steadily. This is a creature of brute power. Its own strength is protection enough from most enemies. It carries no sensitive scanning equipment. It has no need for caution. I speak the name of power.
Of the Guardian Zoid, rises in Bison. Black metal Bison with iron horns will run. Through red coins and renegades, damage done. Its mighty cannons light the night like the sun. Creating Zoid factories and mass. The renegade Zoid army hard like brass. See Bison lead the charge on renegades. With iron hoods he fights till the dawn fades. See Bison, lose your cannons to recry. See Bison, make the renegades all die. See Bison, you protect planet Zoidstar. See Bison, walk across ruinous scar. See Bison roots out spies. His laser and cannon blasts ring a big Zoid cries. See Bison doesn't slow for enemy tries. Untamed and down of cold, he believes no lies. With thunderous charge and metal bull roars, the renegade Zoid army hard like glass. See Bison leads the charge on renegades. With iron hoods he fights till the dawn fades. See Bison, lose your cannons to recry. See Bison, make the renegades all die. See Bison, the protect planet Zoidstar. See Bison, walk across ruinous scars. Till the conditions reach for the stars. With horns hunger for war comes in Zoid's pass. No renegade goal will deter his goal. Against the multi Bison will not fall. See Bison, lose your cannons to recry. See Bison, make the renegades all die. See Bison, you protect planet Zoidstar. See Bison, walk across ruinous scars. See Bison, lose your cannons to recry. See Bison, make the renegades all die. See Bison, you protect planet Zoidstar. See Bison, walk across ruinous scars. Cosmic ambitions reach for the stars. When hordes hunger for war comes in Zoids bars, no renegade goal will deter his call. Against them all, see Bison will not fall. See Bison, lose your cannons to recry. See Bison, make the renegades all die. See Bison, you protect planet Zoidstar. See Bison, walk across ruinous scar.
It is the never-ending battle between red and blue Zoids. It has been waged for centuries. It rages still, with no end in sight. I, the Namer, last of the Zoidarians, guardian of the names of power, keeper of the legend of heroic combat, have spoken.